options. For me, it's the mid lane focus there from anyone's Legends.
Yeah.
Taking away the Annie, taking away the Ahri. I mean, makes sense. You could get a really strong mid jungle 1-2 after that B1 comes through, so you want to remove the best options from them.
I wonder if how much Sejuani Yone prio might have fallen here. I mean, AL doesn't ban either one of them. That used to be the most popular R1, R2 for a red side team. The Gwen comes away as that final ban. So anyone's Legend, Tarzan, most importantly, like you've got nearly every jungler you like, Pantheon, stuff like that. They're going to get the Talia locked in there for Shanks.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think with Vi and Xin being up, like you have to grab that and not allow them to take it on the 1-2. I mean, this champion I think has just been, I want to say has come out as really strong, but I think it's just been really strong the entire time. There's a lot of draft focus here, a lot in the NACL as well, and you're going to see the Vi grabbed as well just to make sure they don't get that really powerful combination. Yeah,
2 S-tier picks for JDG. I mean, Ala and Shun are very happy campers. I'm glad you brought up the Talia point because I think we've just seen the mid lane start to shift from to more like supportive S characters. That Annie, we may see come back, really plays that role well. Tarzan gonna lock in the Nefiri though, so we get the pack coming out once more for Tarzan, and they're gonna lock in a Galio top for Flandre. So immediately countering that Rumble as early as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You know what Ale is going to be playing, so it makes a lot of sense. The Nefiri is Tarzan's most played this split and something he's really strong on. So again, the pick seems to align perfectly with how they want to play. And I like the Galio pairing in teamfights as well because, you know, Nefiri can go in, can buy a lot of space with that invulnerability and get a lot of time for the hero's entrance to come through.
The Yone, it's an interesting spot for it. I feel like you don't normally see. There's obviously good setup there for the Vi, that single target, but you know, even leaning further into the Galio point, like Galio and Talia are 2 champions I find could be very difficult for a Yone to operate in. And we talked about for Scout, a player we're looking to see the most improvement for this JDG team going into playoffs.
Yeah, definitely a bold pick for him. I mean, it kind of fits. Usually with Vi, a really big combination is the Ambessa. The Rumble is already through, so Vi needs a dive buddy. You got to imagine Missing will also play that role in support. But yeah, it is going to be kind of tough for Scout to play out this matchup, but later on in fights, later on in side lane, Yone is really strong, so if he's able to perform, I think he will be able to do a lot of damage.
Bot lane focus on the second phase bans as the Renata and Xayah both going to drop off there. Varus Rakan as well, so we don't see anyone try and take away the Lucian and the Enchanter combinations those bring. We saw Gala pilot that to success for IG last night. I wonder if either one of these bottom lanes are going to lean towards that.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I could see a world where JDG do go for something like the Lucian. Maybe the Kaisa, just because they have a lot of dive. That one is up and available. But I guess instead, Alistar, actually, I'd kind of like that one. I think having I mean, literally no Silas to worry about. You have a lot of damage to work with as well on the side of AL. So having something really tanky like the Alistar makes a lot of sense.
For Hope here, I definitely want something that has consistent damage alongside of Talia and Galio solo lane. He's been a big proponent of this Corki, which has fallen out of a lot of AD carry's favor, but Hope has definitely been the guy that stuck with it the most. And you do have really any other engaged support you'd ever want to pair with it here for Kael.
I like it. Even though Corki's fallen off, I still think it is a good champion. What it offers is range, and it offers movement. You have that poke, of course, with the missiles, but I think with the dive that JDG are working with right now, any bit of mobility you have for yourself, I think is going to be really important. Will help you dodge ganks as well. So I think Hope is kind of giving himself a pretty good chance of success there with this pick.
Kael going to lock in the Leona next to it just to bring home some non-committal engage. I really like that, just getting the solar flare out. You hit it. You've got a lot of go buttons to follow through with it. You don't. Everything is okay. You can back out back to safety and play a bit more from space like you were talking about. But everyone's eyes, where's Peyz, the biggest AD carry so far of these last couple of weeks, the superstar for JDG. He's going to land on the Ezreal just to play as safe as he possibly can as the rest of his team is going to be flying forward.
Yeah, that's right. And he can offer a good amount of range and poke from a distance while the team is going in. I was kind of leaning more towards the Kaisa, but since you're playing into Galio Talia, I don't think you want to get too close. So in the end, I like what Peyz is going for here. But I think this comp that JDG is working with right now is really focused more on that mid game. We talk about how strong Yone is going to be inside. We talk about how useful Ezreal can be later on. But it really feels like this composition is on a clock. Because even though they have a really strong combination, they have a really good combination of ultimates as well. I think on the other side, looking at champions like Corki, Talia, Nefiri, like late game is your best friend with compositions like this. So as long as you can keep things slow going in the early game, minimize your losses, I like what JDG are working with.
Yeah, and for AL as well, this team is just so prepared to try and counteract this dive with the Galio taunts, the Talia being able to stun up any of those dashes. There's a lot of space they can buy in, and they can play really as a unit with that lower range Corki outside the missiles. They can play as 5 and team fight their way through, which has been AL's one weak point against some of these top teams is sometimes they just struggle to hands check BLGs, the top esports, and last time around against JDG, it's exactly what happened to them. So looking to rewrite the scripture from the first round robin matchup. Anyone's Legend looking to start with the right foot forward is either of these two teams will go into the playoffs. Locked in they are with a series win here. For one final time on the Rumble stage, it's time to bring in the Gios for Anyone's Legend and JD Gaming.
Ah, yes, my favorite part, watching LPL LCK. It's the fan chants. We're just inferior in North America and EU Slayer. I don't know what else to tell you.
I'm waiting for them.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hello?
Did we ruin it by talking about it?
Bump the mic? Crowd mic? All right.
Did I hear something?
I hear a little bit. It is a little more faint than I was expecting. Maybe it's because Alla and Flandre decided to just throw down level 1 here before minions could even spawn out of the Nexus, so they'll
they were
both
holding
get that
their
reset
breath.
off.
Oh, yeah, so at the end of the day, the trade didn't matter unless Flandre had mana flow banned, and if he did, top lane was silver, guys. I don't know what else to tell you.
True.
The extra mana, game-changing.
I do like this play for Missing, though. He wrapped around bot side solo and got that deep red buff ward. You see constantly the usual trade is of those right over there, the Raptor pit wards, but some pretty deep vision Missing's been able to gain, so Tarzan also going to be spotted going for this aggressive start, so a lot of info for JDG knowing how Tarzan's going to approach this clear.
And it's going to be interesting to me how Jun is going to end up responding. The way I see him leading the blue buff does make me wonder if he's just going to cross over and try to trade for Raptors, but there is a blue ward there from AL. They would know if that's going to happen. And given the path that Tarzan is going towards, he's just going to do Raptors into Raptors. He's going to limit the opportunity for Jun to do any counter jungling. Now Tarzan has an opportunity to keep track of that Raptors camp, take the respawn, and get himself a good lead.
Jun definitely the one we're looking for to get out on the Rift much earlier with this Vice kit than a Fury. A lot about making sure the power forming sticks true, but the level 2 going to come across first for both Kael and Hope as flashes go down in an instant. Ignite comes across from Kael as well. Missing Hurton heading back towards that turret.
Yeah, not really respecting the fact that Hope and Kael were going to get that level 2 first. So Missing loses his flash. It's like losing half a summoner because it is Hex Flash as well, the Chad's rune, if you will. But taking advantage of Alistar's weakness a little bit early on. Any little advantages you can get, especially playing something like the Corki in this game, is a great thing for Hope to have. Because again, while JDG's comp, really strong dive, really strong wombo combo in team fights, I think I really like AL's comp later on into the game. Once we get past 2 to 3 items, Hope is going to be really strong. Tarzan is going to be really strong. And Shanks, he's playing Talia. He's going to be useful at every stage of the game.
Tarzan's just strong on this Nefiri champion. We got the awesome graphic. Right now, Tarzan is 9-0 on the dog. That is awesome to see here. But the flip side, I mean, we talked about the jungle matchup beatdown. The two champions we have them playing for game 1, they're combined 17-1 on in the Rumble stage. You just can't script this better.
That's literally insane. These guys are playing basically their best picks at the moment here. They're wasting no time. Game 1 of this draft, they're just going to go ahead and pull out their best. And I like it because these are matches today where not a whole lot of moving is going to be taking place in the standings as we highlighted. The fact that everybody's still just whipping out their best picks, you love to see it.
Oh, good cancel there, so no stun comes across onto Missing because Tarzan was waiting in the shadows to try and punish Peyz and Missing. We see both bottom laners shift up towards this top side. So we get the good old down-under lane assignments as I like to talk about them. Shun and Tarzan get a battle over the Raptors. A couple stolen away from Tarzan as he continues to be a bit of a menace. And our Twitch prediction comes through. The AL Truthers do not believe in the JDG win streak. Or history, albeit.
To be fair, I mean, if they're going off draft, because it's per game, right, with the predictions. So in that case, I mean, I'm with Chad on this one. And something I don't really say very often. I do like again what AL are working with here, and I gotta say, unless JDG can get a pretty significant advantage early on, they are going to be in trouble. So it makes sense. And you know, when it comes to especially high variance leagues like LPL and leagues where we fight a lot, you just kind of go with like we're always going to get to the late game Slayer. Always.
Oh, it definitely feels like it. These mid laners looking to throw down early.
Goodbye,
Scout canceled the seismic shove with his dash, but the Q3 misses for Scout. Shanks flashes after. One more rock should do it, and the seismic shove will seal it. Scout falls solo bolo style to Shanks for first blood.
Oh, that feels pretty bad. I mean, we were talking about how Scout has had some not great performances. That was a moment, too, where he really did have the opportunity for the solo kill, or at the very least to force Shanks to splash for nothing. But instead, flashes, dies, and is going to drop a pretty big wave because he doesn't have TP to join mid.
Good untargetable from Tarzan. Gets away from the Vault Breaker. I mean, Beatdown. Scout, did someone not send Scout my player improvement plan? One of the bullet points
I don't think
was
so.
Early game laning.
Yeah, and we're seeing a replay too in that picture-in-picture. Real quick, just to show you how Ala did lose his flash. But it's true. I mean, people need to take your improvement graphics more seriously, Slayer. I mean, Scout obviously didn't, and that's the cost. So other players in the league take notes. Slayer knows his stuff.
Let's see if Hope maybe read it. We'll see later. A lot of his improvements come outside of the lane phase. As we get a replay on that 1v1. And yeah, the outplay potential was there. It just you finish your dinner there, Scout.
Pretty much. I mean, the fact that he was able to cancel the seismic shove, as you said, is a really nice buffer. I actually didn't know that you could do that as Yone. But basically what happened after was, yeah, he missed the Q3. He ended up flashing and dying because Shanks had the opportunity.
Here we go. Shanks riding the wall, cuts off Scout from the rest of his team. So a 3v4 brewing, but there's the fate sealed. Nice. Scout revenge coming across. Kael does not have the unbreakable will, so he will be broken. Missing, able to get himself back out of safety. Tarzan trying to rescue this fight, but Shanks is far too low, and Hope cannot get close enough to help his superstar jungler. Just like that, JDG with a quick 2-kill response.
A little bit of an ugly fight, but overall it was a really nice skirmish there coming from Scout. Really good use of the Fate Sealed. Redeems himself a little bit after the replay we just saw. Now I know why we canceled it a little bit early there. So it feels good for the Yone to get some gold back into his pockets, keeping himself back up. And JDG, they get that start that I was talking about that they need.
So now the skirmishing going to calm down a bit, as we do have some pretty big neutral timers coming up here. First Dragon has been chilling in the pit for a bit now. That Infernal Drake definitely going to be nice as a single Drake boost to grab. But the Grubs are definitely where everyone's attention is going to go towards. See how aggressive these two teams want to posture around. Is a lot more ultimates are starting to come up online here. Bottom laners. Everyone with supports going to have those key ults coming up for this Grub fight. And like you pointed out earlier, Beatdown, got to chain those together if you're JDG with this Vi, Rumble, Yone combination.
That's right. And JDG, I was expecting them to lean more towards the Grubs, just because I think they need them a little more than AL do. Even though I talk about JDG getting outscaled, Scout is going to be pretty strong in side lane in the 1v1. Yone kind of just only gets better in that regard. So there is that opportunity for them to really benefit from the Grubs, even if they're only able to get one or two of them. But it's looking like they just want to let that one go. Jun is on the other side of the map, so there's really no chance for a contest. I'm a little surprised. I don't like giving away all three Grubs like this, especially when you just want to fight, you spent your gold, you have more combat stats overall across the map. I do think it's really strange to just let this one go like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even going to... AL's not really even going to drop waves here. I mean, Hope swings back over mid. He's going to grab this one. They've got Flandre in position for the top wave. One of the big things we talked about that makes AL different from really every team in the Rumble stage already showing Beatdown. They're just so well positioned on the map constantly.
Yeah, the movements are good. They don't drop waves too often. And it is really good stuff. It's the team fights where they falter. It's the skirmishes that don't always go their way because at times they just get outplayed. But getting a pretty big, getting this advantage here early on, I think is really nice. Again, I don't like the JDG let go of the grubs. I think maybe they're stuck on a couple patches ago where it's like, oh, don't worry, guys. We can trade grubs for dragon. We'll get the next 3 grubs. But that is not a thing anymore.
It is 3 grubs with the whole kit and caboodle. So those mites are going to be going over towards anyone's legend as we start to see these supports continue to try and roam around the map here. At this point, I'm just hoping that they soak up some XP so we can get these ults online, because both of these comps rely sneakily a lot on their supports' ultimates. Is right on cue. Kael goes in for an engage on the Missing, who, like we talked about, does not have that unbreakable will, so Shanks' damage is really starting to hurt. And it's once again Missing having to flash away from a Kael engage.
Yeah, and he catches him out, forces him away, and it's going to give the opportunity to get some pressure onto Jun. But luckily, he finishes most of the Krug camp. And he's just going to use the Vault Breaker to get away. Ala using the Equalizer to protect himself is nice too. You deny the turret plates, and you deny AL the use of the grubs that they had just earned earlier on. But I mean, all things considered with this current game state, I think AL are pretty happy. They got a pretty big objective with the grubs coming through. They're down 1 kills to 2. Could be a lot worse, even though they lost that skirmish earlier on. But they're down only 300 gold. So in this comp that's so good in late game, who cares, Slayer? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? And catching up dragons, who cares? The way they're moving on the map is already... We already see JDG kind of playing more responsive, more on the back foot. And again, this is a comp that, especially now that we're cresting over 11 minutes, the mid-game is approaching. Beatdown, you highlighted JDG really are the comp that needs to be more proactive in this window. We're looking to them to try and slow down the pace AL has created.
Yeah, and dragon stacking is a way that they can do that. They've already got that first one pretty early on, and I'm imagining there's going to be a big focus on maintaining control over this bottom side around these dragon timers just to ensure that they're able to play towards that dragon soul.
Scout going to TP back down to make sure he catches these waves as Flandre continues to play the role of just neutralizer into either solo lane he matches up into. Willing to sacrifice his health bar for just keeping the wave states in control here. Dragon still about 2.5 minutes out. Don't have a Rift Herald to play for either, so it's really on these two teams to look for proactive plays on their own, continuing to move through the map as we've got the bot lanes now back towards the mid lane. With their junglers hovering, but Scout is looking for a flank angle. He's off vision. He gets the 2-man fate sealed. Jun throws the alley-oop, and Scout dunks them home. Kael can be picked off by Peyz in the background as well, and Shanks is just a little too late to the party. Once again, JDG just better in the skirmishes right now in Game 1.
Yeah, I really like the angle Scout took with that ultimate. Getting the fate sealed over the wall, they couldn't see him because he was in the darkness. And again, AL, I don't know why we're really fighting so hard for some of these angles and we're not keeping track of the Yone. Like, you don't have to fight right now. You're not the one who wants to be pushing the pace. JDG is, and they're just letting them do it, Slayer.
What a turnaround for Scout. He had the mess up in the 1v1, but these last 2 Fate Seals have been beautiful, and we've talked about it. Shun is playing like the superstar jungler JDG need him to be, and once again, it's the Vault Breaker and the Cease and Assist. He lines up both of them for Scout. This is why JDG come into the series on a 4-series win streak. Perfect in all 8 of those games.
Yeah, and there it is. Looking like Scout, the improvement plan. It's worked.
Check the second one. There we go.
Link up with Jun in the mid-game.
All right, exactly. But Missing now, going to be the target of AL's ire. Does pop the Unbreakable Will. Missing has been tempting fate all game long, but is yet to be punished with a death for it, so got to be a fan of that.
But still, I mean, having to use his flashes defensively definitely doesn't feel good, and being forced to use the Unbreakable Will like that, also not ideal. We're a minute 30 on the Heralds. He may not have that ult back in time for that objective, and that definitely feels bad when you're trying to set up for a comp overall that's going to be doing a lot of fighting. But still, JDG increased their gold lead a little bit. They're approaching the 2,000 gold mark, and this is more of the pace that I wanted to see from them. Just skirmish as much as you can. When you have those ultimates up, if there's an angle, take it.
And you can see in the items, too, starting to reflect how much more potent they're going to be in these skirmish spots, mainly in the jungle. I want to highlight Tarzan goes the Shojin first, which just doesn't really compare to the one-item spike that Thunder and Sky brings you. Might be arguably the best one-item power spike for most of these jungle champions.
Eclipse, I fear.
Okay, yeah, Eclipse, true. But hey, here's the Thunder Sky coming through. Shanks sees the assist down, has no way to run away without Flash, and Jun is just everywhere on the map, but AL's looking for a response towards the mid side. Tarzan trying to push the tempo with no ult on missing, but Kael does not land the Solar Flare. No Zenith Blade through, no engage for AL, and Peyz can just dance around AL as if to walk their sad butt back towards the mid lane.
Yeah, there's just no angle where you can do anything about this Drake. I don't know if I even like this posturing. This feels a little silly and dangerous, unless Tarzan wants to throw his life for a 50-50, but okay, we're going.
Kael, he goes in, but that was a great headbutt for missing, so Tarzan and Hope are on the wrong side. Kael is just easy pickings for Peyz, but they let him limp away, and Hope is going to grab the kill on the missing. Flandre with the hero's entrance does fly in, and somehow, some way, Anyone's Legends bash down the door and grab the dragon.
Yeah, the move from Shanks ends up being really good. Scout doesn't have TP. He's on the other side of the map. It's only just coming off of cooldown now. So they AL managed to take a pretty good numbers advantage in their favor. They turned that into a Drake.
Tarzan.
I'll let his flash, so he's probably fine.
Yeah. I was going to say smells ketchup in the water because it's the glizzy
skin. The hot dog skin.
Yeah. All it doesn't have to burn is flash. You don't even get plates either for Scout because we're past 14 minutes, so it's good chip damage on the tier 1, but AL, despite playing from behind from a fighting standpoint, they still are just really pristine on their map movements.
And being able to secure that dragon really is important because it slows down that Drake stacking for JDG. JDG are still fine in terms of fighting, but usually when you're playing a comp that's going to eventually get outscaled, playing for a Dragon Soul as soon as possible is usually very beneficial. So now JDG is going to really need to lock in and secure those next couple of Drakes, win these next couple of skirmishes so they can hold on to this advantage they've had and try to increase it.
They're definitely indexing Scout back into those side lanes. If we're going off the improvement plan, if Scout wants to at least nail 2 for 3, he's going to not get picked off on these side lanes, trying to get waves. Maybe he'll just join the team fight. He's got his teleport back up.
Yeah. I mean, look at Flandre. No TP, no ult. He's in the bottom wave. There's just that TP guarantees that the Rift Herald is going to go over to JDG. It's nice. They can turn that into first brick. They can turn that into more gold. And it should also give them feats of warfare if they're able to get that too, which every little bit helps.
They are one objective closer, or if they grab that first turret, like you talked about. But AL are over-indexing towards this top side. It's a turret race. The Herald's going down in the mid lane. AL are going to win it. So with those grubs and Demolish, yeah, they get the first turret. They do trade it 2 for 1, though. So the Herald and Scout are going to make it a positive gold play for JDG nonetheless.
Yeah, it still works out pretty nicely. This means JDG are going to need one more objective before they get the Feats of Warfare. It's still up for contention. But either way, it's as you say, 2 turrets for 1, even considering first brick. It is still an advantage for JDG. They also open up the map a little bit more, and it's going to make it easier for them to set up deeper vision, set up for these objectives. Again, especially around the Dragon, which is so important.
Dragon about 2.5 minutes out, along with Otacon, which will be spawning in that top side. Peyz going to hit a pretty big item breakpoint. He grabs the Mora Mana, gets to the Manamune. This is where Ezreal starts to get pretty scary in damage profile. The Shojin's the 3 item that I know everyone likes to talk about, but this is the pure damage spike I feel that Ezreal really gets to. So Peyz, a guy who has been the best AD carry in the league so far these last couple of weeks, going to be put in a pretty big spot as Shanks cuts off the escape angle, missing pops the Unbreakable Will, so it's going to be pretty hard to burn through this beefy cow. Missing will finally fall for the first time, though. Enough damage from Hope and Tarzan to bring that one home.
And I mean, looking across the map, there isn't a real response that JDG are going to have. I mean, the top turret's already down. Flandre's here to absorb that bottom wave and prevent Scout from taking another turret. So it's just a nice play. I'm missing caught yet again, Slayer. This is pretty tough, too, because he's forced to use the Alistar ultimate defensively. He dies in the process anyway. And if this happens closer to an objective, it's just going to make JDG's chances of fighting so difficult.
So take a look at the Hope improvement plan. The big one that stands out now for me is transitioning these leads. You talked about how the Corki is just going to become such a big threat with this build later on. Hope is not far away from that Moramana spike. He is also 2-0, so this is a spot for both these AD carries to really shine. One who has consistently done it recently, and the other not in big spots against top 4 teams.
Yeah, and of course the better clicks in team fight is another one that's going to be pretty important because that's how you use those leads, Slayer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're going to see if Hope is going to be able to do so. His clicks are going to be especially important because you're looking at Vi, Rumble, and Yone. Like, they are hunting you.
They're coming at you.
Yeah, so you better space right. You better Valkyrie just right if you want to have any impact in this fight.
QSS purchase coming through here for Scout. We're seeing this rushed constantly when the Yone gets played. I've seen a lot into the answer that's been the Annie rise, just, you know, clicking tippers on the Yone once he flies through with the Fate Sealed. So Scout going to look to use that to kind of stall out maybe a Talia stun, a Galio taunt.
Solar Flare.
Yeah, Solar Flare. A lot of effectiveness with that, but definitely showing that he's leaning into the team fight, maybe as expected, but nonetheless what that build entails.
While it is a popular rush, I find it interesting this game. It must be to dodge the seismic shove, just because there's so much CC on AL's side. I kind of worry that if they space out their CC well enough, they're just going to make it kind of pointless.
Oh, Hope! No, that's not where you gotta go with the clicks. He gets caught by Peyz and Shun, but somehow is able to escape with his life. The equalizer comes down. Kael flashes just in time to get out to safety. But now anyone's legend. They're playing on the back foot. They have 2 people with blinking health bars, and Peyz finds the Mystic shot to snipe down onto Kael. He's arcade shifting forward with confidence. That's the AD carry with the better clicks right now, and Peyz showing why.
And now Hope, he's forced out. He gets caught out, but it was a nice angle there from Jun. Again, exactly how they want to be playing these fights. And while they did end up losing out on their AD carry, you're seeing TPs come through. You're seeing the movement come through Slayer. AL are trying to sneak this dragon away, but I don't think it's going to be that simple.
Shun is here, missing as well. Peyz coming through. Tarzan, that is not low enough health bar. You got to bail out of the pit. They're just going after Flandre. The tanky Galio finally going to have his armor cracked through. Shanks teleports in, but they've already lost their top laner. Hope does have to flash. Shanks gets a whole full combo. His Hope flies back in, hits the rocket. One more down. Peyz is limping away with single-digit HP. The dragon will be claimed for AL, but guess what Scout was up to in the top side?
He soloed the Otacon. That is actually a pretty nuts trade coming through there for JDG. That feels really good. It's going to make every kill that you get as a team, or every takedown, that much more valuable. But in the end, because they are able to force them out of the Dragon Pit, AL are the ones who are halfway to a soul. They knock down a turret in the lane, and because
Scout.
they got that objective. Wait, what is this TP? This is deep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just going to leave.
All right. Well, it's not dying on a side lane, but it's a TP very much so for a side lane, I guess. Scout?
Well, we're a few minutes away from Baron. Dragon just got taken, so really the only thing you really want to be focusing on right now is that top side. So it's fine. It's just aggressive. But he's also level 14, approaching his second item, so he's feeling himself, Slayer. He's feeling really strong.
Yeah, back in the temple. We talked about before we got into this matchup that both of these teams are very vibe-centric, especially JDG, who it's been awesome to see. They just, as a 5-stack, they've preached more than anything over, you know, the wins, the losses, the season, that they're just having fun as a group of 5 friends. And can't ask for much more playing League of Legends competitively at this level.
Yeah, truly, the vibes are immaculate. Honestly, when you first told me that, I really thought it was going to be about the team's variance. Because, you know, which JDG are we getting today? Because when I hear Vibes team, my thought is always like, so it kind of just depends how we're feeling today. I understand.
Like, oh, we're coin flipping this game, but we're locking in this game. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it is a good look there from AL. Again, we talk about the variance of performance they've had this split, being able to come out of the gate swinging so far this game, which has been, I don't want to say one-sided, but a good look for them so far, is a really nice way to get game 1 started.
JDG, though, looking to knock down last tier 1 turret, but AL are here to cover. He's missing. Lucky he's got a minion wave up there before he starts tanking turret aggro. Flandre, very, very tanky by this point, and Shanks finding some big seismic shoves. It's again missing, sacrificing a lot of his health bar for very little.
You can say no reason. It's okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
no reason.
Yeah, there you go. Get him. Yeah, but for real, missing, losing out, getting caught a lot so far this game. Hasn't really bitten JDG in the rear yet. But if it keeps happening, and if he keeps having to drop his ult before objectives, it can cause a real problem later. But so far, it's been pretty good from JDG, especially Jun and Scout. We got to give Scout some credit. I think so far throughout the split, playing things like Yone, especially when Jun is something like Sedge, hasn't gone really well for him. Hasn't really worked out. But this game, it has been a good look. The ults have been on point. The solo kill wasn't great, but ever since then, it's been pretty good from Scout, so I like it.
So far, he's checking 2 of the 3 boxes, and that's a good start for the player improvement plan, nonetheless. And the solo kill will mean the solo kill honestly will go down like a 0.5 one, given the variance and the importance.
No,
of the
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. We'll call it a 1.
Okay, all right. So
we gotta be honest. We gotta be honest.
We gotta be firm. We gotta be firm with the rankings.
Yes, firm but fair.
Firm but fair indeed. Baron coming up in about 15 seconds. So this top side priority starting to show for both of these teams. The Vision Wars will start to be waged. So we continue to talk about AL as a team that we said so well coached, and part of that really goes down to their vision setup. I know BeatDown Alk Battery was telling you, I believe, claimed that they were the best vision-led team in the LPL so far. Is AL?
They're the best coach team. Was
right.
what he said. Because a lot of it was surrounding how they set up round objectives. I mean, vision is definitely part of that conversation. The vision setups, map movements, how they play on side lane, particularly with Flandre, was a lot of what I got from on that.
See more indexing towards this bot tier 1 turret from JDG. They really want to knock this one down on what feels like the opposite side of the play that they'd like to make. Soul point can be acquired from AL on this Ocean Soul if they play for this dragon up in about 30 seconds. So really going to get an idea neutral objective-wise where the priorities lie for both of these teams in these next couple of minutes.
Right. I'm kind of expecting it to be more of a topside focus. Ocean Soul, while it does have its uses this game, I can't imagine is particularly desired compared to like an Infernal Soul, Hextech Soul, things like that. So I'm expecting a little bit more of a focus around the Baron Pit, as that's an objective I think neither team wants to let go of.
Nonetheless, Shun is right in the pit on Dragon Spawn. Kael does spot a reset from Scout come across on the top side. But Dragon is just immediately getting started here. Shun and Peyz have more than enough damage to handle this thing on its own. And AL not really going to be able to find much as a response.
No, I mean, Flandre, he's going to have to let go of that bottom tier 1 as well. I mean, AL, they do get an opportunity to push out this top wave and set up vision for their side. Now just nothing but blue wards in and around the Baron Pit. But yeah, not very much gained for the Dragon overall. After this reset, maybe we can see an angle, especially if third items start to come through. We can see hope. He's made some pretty good progress towards this third item, probably Spear of Shojin. If Tarzan can get to that third item pretty soon, maybe on another timer like that, they'll be able to try and rush the Baron.
But the one guy that is on 3 items right now,
let me hear
is Peyz.
Yeah.
Peyz on this Ezreal. The Spear of Shojin's done. This is, I would argue, almost as scary as Ezreal's going to get from a cooldown, and obviously the damage will up a bit, but necessarily his big power spike. And as an Ezreal aficionado myself, I am very happy that we're going to be watching Peyz pilot this build going forward. I mean, he can just take over fights if he's protected in this comp, and it's hard to give a lot of attention towards Peyz with summoners available, knowing Ezreal's kit, and also how much attention the Ala, Shun, and Scout fly-in is going to be directing. That's
really the big one. The best, it's like the best defense is a good offense kind of ideal. They can't focus on your backline if they're afraid for their backline. Basically, JDG's entire composition.
Yep, and also what really helps that comp is playing from Fog of War, as our observers are showing that top river is completely dark. I mean, the Baron could be getting hit right now, and it was. JDG are trying to set a bit of a trap here, missing flying back towards the mid lane, but Tarzan and Hope in a comfortable position for now. Flandre is making his way up river in case anything really fires off, but JG just taking control of the mid wave, as Shanks is going to fly in with the Weaver's Wall and actually catch Ala a bit too far forward, so the Rumble Flash is going to be down.
Yeah, really nice Weaver's Wall. I think, no, Flandre is fine. He's Galio.
Too tanky.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Kael.
We may have a fight.
It's again missing, really playing on the edge of his health bar. Luckily he's got some plants to feed himself back up as the True Shot Barrage rakes across, and for once it's Kael, the more hurt support that's going to have to back off here, and JDG are going to command control of the mid wave and that top river once more. We'll see if they decide to pull the trigger with these reset timers.
Yeah, I mean, right now, AL, it's good recognition that after that sequence, JDG do need to recall. So I'm imagining AL want to take this opportunity to push out mid, get some vision set up around that Baron. I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Problem is, they're a little slow on it. JDG have already returned, and I don't think they're actually going to be able to get much done because of it other than take that voided Scuttle Crab.
So AL finally getting a breath of fresh air, being able to get some vision down on that top river. The gold lead still in command of JDG, but this game beatdown really feels like we're just going to throw hands at Baron likely, and whoever wins it might just come out with the win at 30 minutes.
Very likely. I mean, worth noting, Hope, he's got that Spear of Shojin now in a pretty strong position as the Corki. It's really only up from here. While Peyz is ahead, as long as Hope can kind of hang back and not get jumped on and do damage, I think this is kind of that point where AL have gotten past the point where it's a little hard to play against JDG's composition. They should be able to go toe-to-toe with them now.
All summoners except all this flash are available. Everyone's teleport, every Galley ultimate, Weaver's Wall to fly across the map, and I really gotta applaud AL's comp for that aspect. You hyped up, Scout as a side lane threat, but not necessarily the answers are there, not necessarily to fight Scout, but just always have somebody there to catch his waves and not have to worry about them being taken out of any fight that breaks out across the rift.
Yeah, I mean, that's important because you're neither solo laner can win that 1v1. But right now, JDG, they're just going to take the opportunity. They're going to start the Baron.
Scout, or Ola, TP's all the way in. Missing is setting up a decoy, just trying to get vision in. With all that damage, I mean, it's completely cut through, and now Scout's flashing forward, gets the Fate Seal. They're pouring everything onto Kael, as Shanks' Weaver's Wall is going to save Leona. But Kael might look to turn this thing. He's a pretty healthy Leona. Tarzan flies in, gets the stasis out of Ola, but the taunt is timed up so well. Flandre dies next. Missing follow, but there's the dash forward. Tarzan has another.
He's going.
The pack is unleashed, and he sees red going forward, chasing down JDG. Finally, Anyone's Legend snapped their skirmish loss streak at a big, big point.
Yeah, the problem is they do it after dropping the Baron for what seems like no reason. They were so slow to respond that JDG, they still have Baron buffs to work with. They still get the upfront gold. The only saving grace is, yeah, they pick up some kills, and they're able to get their soul point. But it's going to be tough. If you keep giving up objectives like that, it could still end up leading towards your loss. Nice thing for AL, late game is still very much their friend, but now they have the Baron-empowered Scout to deal with in the side lane. It's going to be easier for him to be able to threaten these tier 2 turrets.
You gotta look back at the hero play here from Scout. Looks like, they just wanted Hope, and the flash timing was perfect to make sure the Corki stays safe. Hey, there we go for the player improvement plan beatdown. Good clicks.
Yeah, and good clicks. And it was pretty well played from Shanks as well. The Weaver's Wall, the seismic shove too, is kind of what allowed this fight to continue going on into AL's favor. And that fight is just kind of the perfect example of when fights are going to look good for Anyone's Legends. Is Hope able to auto-attack? Is he able to get his damage done? All right, AL good. If not, AL bad.
Easy to track. AL good, AL bad. Clicks.
Yeah.
That's the synopsis I got by this point. The Baron power play going to last for about a minute longer, but maybe finally with somebody that go toe-to-toe with Scout. The Fate Seal caught by Tarzan, but look at the damage Scout's putting out. It's ludicrous. Does get down this Quicksilver Sash, but there's too many taunts, too many stuns for Scout to blow through, and here comes Tarzan back for revenge. Set up so well by Flandre and Kael. They get the teleport in for Shanks, but a lot poured in there just to kill off Scout.
I guess they want to keep. I'm not really sure what that teleport was about. The real problem is you gave up so much space in the mid lane because Scout was holding it down in the 1v3. Now JDG, they want to keep them here.
There's the equalizer, the cease and desist, easy. Zanyas comes across for Shun, so the ult doesn't go down. Hope trying to play from the back line, but they don't have Flandre, and Kael's a little bit late to the party, far too up the lane. It's pandemonium, everybody's layering on top of each other with a Spirit Blossom. Procs are coming through, and Missing gets a headbutt pulverized down. Peyz flashes back out to safety, his Hope's damage is massive, and now all of a sudden it's just Peyz standing up tall. The superstar AD carry for JDG will not find himself another highlight play. Blinking health bars be damned. Ace to anyone's legends.
Wow, what an odd sequence of plays, but at the end of it, AL are the ones who are going to come out on top here. They ace JDG, and they basically narrow the gold lead almost entirely to nothing.
You gotta see a replay back. There was just so many moving parts in this fight with the flank angles coming through on both sides, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give credit to Shanks for how he played that one. He basically eats up the cease and desist with the Zanyas, and he's able to do a lot of damage out in these team fights. And between Shanks and Hope, I mean, after this sequence started, nobody's really looking at him. You can even see it. Peyz ease forward, Shanks ends up getting him with the flick, and I really feel like the Talia is what made such a big difference this fight.
What a fight from Shanks. And we talk about it, that when this Anyone's Legend roster came together, you know, obviously the highlight players, you know, is like Tarzan leading out, Flandre coming in for this top side, but it was these, you know, these guys from Hope and Shanks who have been playing on those, you know, not as big superstar-led teams in the past in the LPL that you really asked a lot of. And for the most part, they've had their ups and downs. We already talked about Hope, but Shanks showing up just adds more fire to this AL for Split 2 finalist agenda.
I like that you called. I don't know why you calling it an agenda is really funny, but I do see what you're saying, and yeah, it is true. I mean, Shanks again, he is showing up big time. These kinds of performances are really what we want to be seeing from Anyone's Legend, because this is kind of where we criticize them for falling short. They just kind of get outhandsed in team fights a lot of the time, and that's where a lot of their major losses have happened across teams that are usually just considered top teams in the LPL. Again, that's why they lost the finals in Split 1, even though going into it, they were the pretty big favorites. So seeing this kind of performance, especially if they're able to turn this one into a win, is going to be a pretty good look for them going into playoffs.
Still a bit of ways away from that. Even in this series, we're just into game 1. We're 36 minutes deep. The goal lead is slim, marginal, no effect on this game state. There's Baron in about 30 seconds. There's Dragon Soul at about the same time. And I know I talked about earlier beatdown, they felt like one Baron fight would decide this game, but now I'm confident the next Baron or Soul Break fight will really decide it with these death timers so high up.
I mean, sure, if you keep saying it, you're going to be right, Slayer, so keep at it, man.
At some point, I'll get it.
Exactly. What really matters... Oh, yeah?
And the longer I miss, the more of a banger the game becomes, because we're getting late.
True. Yeah, we're already approaching 40 minutes, which is pretty crazy for start of the day. That's how we like it here. As right now, JDG, big focus for them, just trying to secure this dragon and deny the Ocean Soul away from AL. To be honest, I don't really know why we're doing this hard commit. Yeah, this is the second time this game where AL is just slow to recognize an objective is being taken.
Yeah.
Slow to respond, which, you know, the team fighting has been okay so far, but now it's the objective play that we usually praise them for that's been slacking.
Yeah, we're reversing the script from early game for sure. Now they're once again walking into a dark top river where they can't even see the Baron, so they just try to get mid-wave prio. They very well could have lost the Baron, knowing how quickly JDG can burn through that objective with the Yone, the Ezreal, and the Rumble. And now we're just resorting to fighting on battle lines for mid-waves. Nobody gets a mid-wave that pushes past the the apex point. And the Death Brushes stack up once more. Who, for Anyone's Legend, will ferry the way into the darkness? It's Kael going to land a Solar Flare onto Missing, but it's Scout caught on the top side of the fight here. Kael going to flash back along with Flandre as Shun goes in onto Tarzan, has that GA, but the flash season assist, they get on top of Hope. Can the Corki stay protected because Peyz is doing tons of damage on the front side, but Hope stands up tall. Shun falls first. Missing's health bar is very critically low. There goes Scout with the unsealed Yone ultimate, but it's immediately answered by Azanya's, and Peyz is really trying to dish out the damage. Arcade shift forward, finds the kill onto Shanks. It's who else but Shanks to fall to Peyz's Ezreal as JDG barely find that fight win, but Peyz is looking for more here. Definitely has to be a bit careful up far on his lonesome. But he's able to get back towards his team. The three-man of All Scout and Peyz turn their attention to the Purple Worm.
Yeah, not enough of AL or on the map to do anything about this one. Even though it was a little bit contested, JDG come out on top, and we'll see if you're right, Slayer, and whether or not this Baron is going to be that difference maker there. We still have long spawn timers on Shanks. It's going to be a while before he can get back on the map, but a big injection of gold there for JDG, and that big opportunity, as you were highlighting, to end the game. Now, all it's going to take is one good fight.
Take me through this last fight, because again, there's just two fronts, it feels like, in these fights that are making the difference for JDG.
Yeah, it's tough. It's pretty split up. You can see a lot of this fight. Hope actually just isn't doing a whole lot of damage. And while I like the target selection onto him, just the fact that this fight was so messy the whole time, Corki, while in a very strong point in the game, actually just isn't able to click in this fight very often. And I think that's what makes the difference. They kept Corki away from this fight while JDG were able to do their work.
And the one worry we had for trying to shut down Peyz' Ezreal, 7-1 now, full build, he has his own GA. Exactly what we saw in that last fight beatdown. Pandemonium as Hope tries to stay alive, and nobody's accounting for the full health Ezreal, just ramping up to clean up these fights.
Yeah, I will say, Hope going the tier 2 boots with the Feet of Warfare upgrade is really nice. You do get that physical damage shield, you do get the extra armor. It is going to help his ability to survive in these fights, but it's tough. JDG want to make the use of the Baron that they've gotten for themselves. It's going to be an easy tier 2 pickup. The only one left is on that top side. You can see Scout escorting a wave at the same time on the mid lane. He's fine.
Okay, all right. Now listen, I know it wasn't a side lane, but I've seen that very play happen a lot in top and bottom. He stays safe nonetheless, and I do want to point out as this Baron siege continues that once again Peyz, he has flash, he has cleanse, he's not had to burn any of those. He's full combo set up, CDR done. It really feels like it's going to take a Peyz mistake to shut down this full build Ezreal from burning through a very tankless AL front line. Outside of Flandre. What am I talking about?
Yeah, but like at this point, it does feel like he is very strong. And overall, I like the setup from JDG because Scout is so strong. He requires a really big answer to actually deal with him. So anyone's Legend, they have to choose. Do we full commit to Scout, or do we let him do what he's doing? Either way, we're going to slowly lose a turret in the process, and you can see it. This tier 3 in the mid lane is very low. Bottom lane, it is low as well. And JDG, they're playing this one slow. They know they don't have to rush. They know they don't have to take any unnecessary risks, especially with the Baroned up cannon minion.
And what may be more important for JG is what they've created behind them, what they've left in the wake of this bot jungle. Look at all the vision. It's all red-pink words. And they have Soul Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, so they don't even need to commit hard to knock down this base because they can get a Dragon Soul. It's actually AL that has to force the issue as Peyz's cleanse is burned from a good Solar Flare from Kael, and missing is caught in the Buzzsaw. Wow. But this cow does not burn. The Alistair's damage not being taken, and Hope gets sniped by the Equalizer. The Redemption won't save him because Shone flies in with the cease and desist. Hero's entrance doesn't mean squat. The real hero is Scout with the fate sealed. It's JDG wrapping up all the kills. They've got the GAs behind them. Peyz popped back up, and down falls AL once more. That's 3 straight game wins for JDG over the top second seed in Group Ascend.
And they needed to fight to win, Slayer, and they managed to make it happen. It's 18-12. It took 42 minutes, but JDG, they're going to put themselves up at match point.
Starting off the exact way the matchup went last time around beatdown.
Yeah.
As JDG are now just 1 win away here from 2-0ing AL and maybe more importantly, locking up the 3rd seed of the 4 playoff teams. I
will say, the difference between the last time and this time, this game took longer. You know, AL have that work going for them. But it was a good look from JDG so far. Again, a comp where they needed to do a lot of skirmishing. They needed a lot of early on objective control. I think they executed on that one pretty well. I will say, there were definitely some question mark moments from anyone's Legend, specifically around Baron, around particular Dragon fights. Feels like they are a little sluggish to respond to moves that JDG are trying to make, and we'll see if they talk about that and try and work on it going into game 2.
And hey, not to, toot my own horn and go back to it, but player
2 away.
improvement plan-wise, you know, I got to say, Scout, the solo kill's going to dock you early, but I also want to give you extra credit for the way he stepped up on the other two. He did not die on the side lane once, all right? He does not die in a side lane. He completed the try not to die in side lane challenge for game number 1, and he was linking up with Shun really well. And on the flip side, Beatdown, I don't know how much I even want to critique Hope for his team fighting, because I feel like it was just impossible for this Corki to really function the way Shun marked him every single fight over and over again.
I'm trying to think. I think for the most part, it's kind of Hope was kind of elo held this game. I think there were some moments that were not great for him. But otherwise, I feel kind of bad, you know, doing that pose you have in the picture, pointing at the list at Hope, being like, "Hey, what happened to this?" It felt more like a team gap overall. But again, I agree, it was a good look from Scout. Again, even particularly playing Yone in the past hasn't been the greatest look for him. I think overall he piloted it really well this game. Solo kill happens, you know, we all make mistakes, but his enemy Nexus exploded, so you know what they say, Slayer. Mid-diff.
Mid-diff indeed, and big part of that mid-diff now, Beatdown, that is 9 games won in a row for JDG. So we talked about it, they won their last 4 series. They're on a 9-game win streak. I don't even think WE has that marker after their 5-game hot streak. I know IG doesn't have the game score like that because they were playing complete series, so this is uncharted territory for this format, the way JDG are trying to close out the Rumble stage.
Yeah, and because you're a caster, unfortunately, you jinxed it, so it's not going to happen now. We're going to go to
Still
game 3.
Have to say it, though.
It's going to be a banger. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a nice look for JDG. Again, we talk about how while standings aren't going to change very much after today's matches, what matters is just sharpening yourself again as best you can, improving as much as you can, showing the best performances going into playoffs to either start that momentum going or, in JDG's case, keep that momentum going.
And you have to remember, right, for this matchup in particular, like, you don't have to look far for a big example of this. This was maybe, I would argue, the best split 1 playoff matchup we had the entire playoffs. This was a 5-game series between JDG and AL last time round, where AL were this close to dropping that series, going to the lower bracket, and setting them to their fate up against top esports. But that was JDG that went that way. So this is quickly becoming such a fun, 2025 rivalry matchup, Beatdown, knowing that AL, the only time they've won this matchup is in the most important series so far. Outside of that, they have not won a game against JDG so far.
Yeah, we'll see if that streak is going to end up continuing in that second game here of the series. And we're going to see highlights from the previous match. You know what I really want to see more than anything from this last game, Slayer? It is the Rumble ult at the very end, because it really, you ever watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I have not. I have not.
Damn.
I hate
There's literally a character. His whole thing is like, he's so good at reading people. He says, next you're going to say this, and then they say that, and they're like, whoa, he's crazy.
Okay.
And that's what that last equalizer felt like. It literally was laid down in the path of Hope's Valkyrie before he did it. And it was literally the most insane read I've ever seen.
For me, that reminds me. Maybe we can try and relate on this one. The Now You what's the movies? The Now You See Me movies, the ones with the 4 magicians.
Yeah. I only saw the first one. But
okay, yeah. The Woody Henderson's character, the mentalist, the guy just is like. Yeah. He just makes you think whatever he's thinking. It's actually hijacks the brain. Hilarious video, by the way, about that is a guy went through the entire series of movies and tried to figure out who was actually a magician and who were actually just wizards, doing unfathomable tricks. And the mentalist guy, immediately he dubbed him a wizard. He's like, this is not real. You could never do this with mentalism. This guy is just a complete wizard. He just knows everything that's happening. So that's a funny video.
How many of those movies are there? I thought there were only 2.
There's 2. There's a third one coming after so many years off. Yeah, they're about to drop a third one.
There's no way those movies did that well. I don't believe it. Wait! Oh my God! I gotta see her come.
Oh, here it is. Mind control. You will stand in
that's
the equalizer.
Literally. I just take my hands off the keyboard at that point. I'm like, you got me, man.
Yeah, you got me.
What can I say?
This is also the GA diff. This fight gets way closer than you think, but it's Peyz and Scout both have GAs. Oh, yeah, so Peyz, Scout, and Tarzan all had GAs, but it was 2-1. So JDG get that win. And Beatdown, now comes the final and most important conversation about that game one. Player of the game. Who do you think is going to grab that one for JDG? Because stats-wise, it is clearly Peyz, but
yeah, I was going to
where your head's
say.
at.
Do I want to just give it to Peyz? I feel like he played really well. I kind of want to give it to Shun too. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Peyz. I think he's the only one this game. I think he played the best this game, even though Shun and Scout were really important to this comp. Played a lot of the early game well, but I think Peyz just didn't make a single mistake. So I'll give it to Peyz.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to come up with the most biased take ever.
Because he's playing Ezreal and you play Ezreal.
I play Ezreal.
I knew it.
Peyz is like the best AD right now in the league.
Yeah.
It's a slam dunk pick. And hey, the LPL voters know it as well. So Peyz is going to grab up his 8th MVP of the entire year.
God damn.
Superstar performance. That 41% damage share. Whew, that is, whenever you get above the 40% mark, you know you had yourself a really good game on any of those damage carries, no matter what lane you're talking about.
I mean, if you're above 30%,